I like Fruit Loops. They're very good. A little bit of sugar in there too.
Follow his nose. He
It
always
always knows
knows.
for flavors of fruit. Just follow your snoot. That's what it was. Yeah, see?
This is a wonderful. I have the wrong notes up.
Keep talking. While Stacy's looking that up, I want to show you this awesome slutty picture that I got. Isn't this great?
God.
This is so inspirational.
Decimation code. I want to say decimation cotex, but that's an entirely different thing. If you want rips,
I just said that.
fuck.
If you want, it's fuck.
Hey, everybody, this is your big buddy, Gene Hoglan, and you're listening to the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. And let me tell you something. Obviously, you need to get a life.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
So hopefully this will work out good and it won't be like the other day when I went and bought groceries and forgot the cat litter and paper towels underneath the
And
car
went
and
right,
drove
had
all
to
the
run
way
right
home.
back out. Yep. Yep.
I thought for sure that was going to be gone. Horrible.
During pandemic, you wouldn't have been able to go back and get paper towels. That would have been history.
It was horrible.
Remember the run-on butt wiping equipment back then? Yeah.
And all the Christmas ornaments that came out that were like toilet paper.
Yeah.
And all the memes. That's how you showed your riches was toilet paper. I would have to go to like 3 or 4 different stores to find everything that I wanted.
Yeah.
It was so weird. The Giant had like no spices. It was like somebody went in there and bought all the spices. But in another store, they had spices, but no eggs. I found the eggs at CVS.
Oh, yeah. CVS.
It was kind of like a little Easter egg hunt of doom, sort of. And you know what I noticed during that period? They turned off the music in the grocery stores. Like it was no longer like a fun place to like, hobnob through the aisles and do your little twirls. No, it was get in, get out. And they tried to make the aisles one way, and I never listened to that.
I learned from the pandemic that I'm a very impatient shopper. I didn't already know this, but I was okay with the 6-foot distance, the social distancing, unless I know exactly what type of cheese I want to buy, and it's right there, and I have to stand behind someone who says, "Oh, look at all the pretty colors. Oh, I have cheddar, I have Gouda, I have Edam. Oh my goodness!" And I'm sitting there going, "Can I just grab now 6 feet?" Sorry, yeah, a lot of that. I felt like it should be 6 feet, and the person that knows what the fuck they're buying is in the front. That should have been the rule.
I took a picture of where it said, "Please practice social distancing and stay 6 feet apart." And they slapped the sign on the tank of lobsters that are all piled on each other. They were not practicing.
They were not practicing. Apparently, the lobsters they weren't even masking. I mean, anyway, so I know you saw it flash by as the show started, but check out this cool artwork for season 2. This character this is another great illustration courtesy of James Spooner, the man, the myth, the legend.
It was from the mind of our executive producer, Mark Marchman, as well as the artistic bring it to life talents of James Spooner.
Yes, yes. The character is actually, we call it Woofer. That's our little mascot, the skull there. He's actually a woofer in tweeters clothing, but don't tell anybody. What I did there, yeah. So I want to kick off strong. Tell me about your crazy relative that tried to bring a duck home.
In my ex-husband's family, there was a tremendous amount of mental illness. Tremendous. And his father's wife, I can't even say she was a stepmother because it's not like she raised him, was batshit crazy. And I'm not talking about like, haha, you're so crazy, antics. No, it was like, we the jury find the defendant, cray cray, to Shepherd Pratt.
It was like,
which is the local loony bin.
It was the real life example of, I really like this jacket, but the sleeves are much too long.
Yeah, she was one of these. You would just be having what you thought was a fairly normal conversation, and she'd be like, now this woman was about 6 feet tall, probably topping the scales at 350 pounds, lots of crazy big hair, makeup that rivaled Tammy Faye Baker.
Oh,
And
quite the mental image.
it was insane. And she always kind of looked to me like she might be a man in drag, but it was so insane trying to have any party, any holiday thing, and include this completely off the wall, in your face. You better be right with God, hun.
Oh, that's right. She was like a Jesus freak too, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On top of being generally crazy, and she was always on some crazy diet.
Well, that kind of fits. I can see that.
But if I didn't finish my food, she'd be like, "Are you going to eat that, hun?" It was just insanity. But one of my favorite stories about her is another crazy aunt of his had lost her son, which was tragic. He died 15 in a accident. He was riding his bike, got hit by a car. But she loved to hang out at the cemetery.
Okay.
I guess to be near her son. But she used to always like bring us and the kids. So we would always feed the ducks at the cemetery.
If I may interject with a decay type thought, I don't think I've ever had an album that the cover doesn't have a cemetery. That's not awesome. Cemeteries on heavy metal albums mean quality. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, they got some great photography there.
That fucking Trouble album. I'm looking at you. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, so it was kind of normal, I guess, for all of us to hang out at the cemetery since she would take us all there quite frequently and we would feed the ducks. And for some reason, this crazy woman went by herself one day and decided that she would not only like to feed the ducks, but she would like to take one home. So she apparently grabbed it, put it in her back seat, and drove home to her apartment. It wasn't like they had a farm. And this duck shit all over her back seat. And then she couldn't get the duck out of the car because it was biting her. I don't even know how the hell they got rid of it.
I think I might even be able to top that one, Mother Duckers. Check this out. One of my exes let her driver's license expire. I noticed that her license had expired. And I told her in no uncertain terms that...
Why didn't you get
it? It's interesting. She just kept blowing me off. I would say, hey, it's been expired. It's been expired for 2 months. If you get pulled over by a cop, you can get a ticket for this. So, and she was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I got so pissed off with her that she was not going to get her license renewed.
Yeah.
She drove everywhere. Didn't care. I actually called her father. I've only done that one time in my entire life. I called her father and told on her and said, your daughter has been driving on an expired license for 6 months. Can you please talk some sense into her? And he didn't care. He was just like, she's a grown woman, whatever.
I think you can even get your car towed over that.
Driving with an expired license, like way expired. Anyway, so this went on for a really long time. And then this is how this girl was. I found out that she had gotten enough of a suntan.
Oh my God.
That now it was okay to get her license.
It was over the picture.
It was over the picture. Yeah, that was what she didn't want to tell me. So I'll tell you what, though, the story ends great. So she goes to the DMV to get her license renewed, and it was so expired. As soon as she came in, they were like, did you drive here? And she said, well, yeah. And they were like, we can't help you. You can't drive. You should not be driving.
Wow.
So she had to get her brother so first of all, she had to tell her family, which was great. And then she had to get her brother to take her to DMV. And then she had to retake all the tests.
Oh, man.
And this is great. So she had to retake the written test, failed it twice. Then she had to redo the driving test, failed that twice.
Yeah, you got
so.
I think you have to allow a week if you flunk a driving test.
I tell you what, when she came back from DMV, she expected that I was going to drive her ass back to DMV. I said, oh, hell no. I said, you find somebody else. I've only been telling you to get your driver's license renewed for like the last year.
Over the picture.
Fuck off. Yeah. So, yeah. So how dumb is that? She actually let her license expire for over a year and then had to go retake all the tests to become licensed legally.
I hate the DMV pictures. I don't care how much you put into your appearance. The 1 year the guy said to me, real quick, smile if you want to. And he said it like really quick and I didn't understand what he said.
Mm.
So I went, what? And he took the picture. So I just
you were stuck with that for years.
Permanently quizzical on my driver's license.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, you want to introduce the show?
This wonderful Decay kickoff show, we're going with the big hitters. We will continue with our Big Four discussion and introduce the interview with Gene Hoglan.
The one and only Gene Hoglan. That Gene Hoglan. Dark Angel Gene Hoglan. Strapping young lad Gene Hoglan. Death Gene Hoglan. And it's a great one.
The human drum machine.
Absolutely. I'd like us to talk. We did the Big Four show last season. We covered kind of the heavy hitters, but I felt bad that we didn't discuss everybody. Now, these are bands that were related to the Big Four in that one member cross-pollinated with either Anthrax, Metallica, Slayer, or Megadeth. So start with Testament. How is Testament connected to the Big Four? Well, Steve Sousa was in Exodus and Kirk Hammett was in Exodus. So there you go. Dan Spitz from Anthrax was in Overkill for a spell. The band Trauma from San Francisco. Trauma is the band that Metallica stole Cliff Burton from. TT Quick is a bit of a fringe band, but here's how they're connected.
A couple of ways.
Yeah. A couple of the guys in TT Quick were actually in Nuclear Assault, and Nuclear Assault is linked to Anthrax.
The drummer, Glenn Evans, went to form that Nuclear Assault.
Yeah. With Danny Leiker, because Danny Leiker got kicked out of Anthrax. So there's the connection there. Heathen is connected through Lee Altus. Lee Altus was in Exodus, and Kirk was in Exodus. A lot of people were in Exodus. And Lee Altus went on to Heathen. Also later, in the late 80s, Metallica, I think James and Kirk were in a band with the guitarist of Heathen called Spastic Children. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about each band, okay? Testament.
That's our Gene Hoglan connection.
Yes. Testament's first album, The Legacy, is a stone cold classic. They had those amazing shout-along choruses, and Alex Skolnick's kind of jazzy guitar would just come in and like lace over top of it. The New Order is also a very dark thrash record, excellent stuff. The band went through some ups and downs, but one thing that's really interesting about Testament, in the late 90s, when it seemed like a lot of the Big Four bands were kind of making music that was like a parody of what they used to be, Testament went through this phase where they just got heavy as fuck, and they recruited Gene Hoglan to do an album, and that album's fantastic. Demonic. We talk about that in the interview. And then after that, they did an album called The Gathering. They had fucking Dave Lombardo play drums for them. So while everybody else was doing this, Testament was doing this. And they really have been great ever since.
They've sold 1.4 million albums in the United States and 14 million worldwide.
But as we discussed with Jason from Dog Fashion Disco, they still don't have enough money to buy back the rights to their original music for the first couple of albums. The first album, The Legacy, is desperately in need of a remaster, but you just can't get it. They've had to re-record it a few times. So keep in mind, they're not wealthy at all. So let's move on to Overkill. Overkill from New Jersey. Again, linked to Anthrax through Danny Spitz.
Lots of lineup changes too.
Well, a lot of these guys have had that. Overkill, my God, the first, 4 or 5 records all the way up through the early 90s, just untouchable.
Very prolific. You know, they were on over 10 different labels and 19 different albums.
Bobby Blitz is still metal. Mr. Corkscrew Hair. I can't tell you the amount of hours I've spent listening to albums like Taking Over and Feel the Fire. Interesting, when Overkill first got together, there's a documentary Rat Skates did that's on Amazon. It's on the very early years of Overkill before they put out their first album, and they were more of a cloak wearing. They called it blood metal. They were almost like a goth band then. It's very interesting. But yeah, Rat Skates that's a very good documentary.
If you think about it, Overkill is the one band that predates all the rest of the Big Four by at least a year.
I believe it. Yeah. Overkill. Here's what I always wanted to see: the fucking awesome Overkill neon green backdrop hanging from it. John Bon Jovi, New Jersey, baby. And watch out, Springsteen, because you're next.
I think a lot of why they didn't get the commercial success was because they didn't have a lot of variety in their songs, but they stuck true to that formula throughout. Yeah,
I love me some fucking Overkill. All right, Trauma. Now, Trauma. Can you look up the singer's name for Trauma while I diatribe here a bit? The band Trauma was actually one of the early bands on Shrapnel Records. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Shrapnel Records, that was a record label that was started by a guy named Mike Varney in the late 70s, I believe. And that evolved into the whole shred metal thing, like Tony McAlpine and Racer X and Marty Friedman. The label was just nothing but these shred guitarists with big hair. So
right. Google Machine says vocalist Donnie Hillier died from an undisclosed illness and was replaced by vocalist Brian Allen.
Yeah, so Trauma, the first Trauma album is called Scratch and Scream, I believe. Mm-hmm. That is a fucking kick-ass record. It's not thrash.
What?
And Cliff Burton is not on it, but it doesn't matter. That singer, Donnie, what's his name?
Oh, yeah.
He can scream the paint off the walls. I mean, I love that first Trauma record. It's great.
It just seems like there was such a large gap between Scratch and Scream and Rapture and Wrath because it was 2015 that came out.
The Trauma is the new Trauma anything like the old one? I can't imagine. It got terrible reviews. The newer one, yeah. See if you can get the original vinyl of the first Trauma record. It's worth it. Did you hear
Awakening? That was their 2022 output. I don't think I've heard.
No, I think I listened to a little bit of the reunion album and puked, and that was the end of that for Trauma. So it's nothing like the shred ready hair fest that Scratch and Scream is. So all right, let's move on. TT Quick. Again, I don't know that much about this band. Their first EP is absolutely a crusher.
They're also New Jersey.
They're like the farm team for Nuclear Assault, basically, right? The first album was called Medal of Honor. It was okay, but the EP is the one to get. 4 songs. They do the kind of a goofy cover of John Fogerty, Fortunate Son, which is you can throw that out. But the rest of the album, there's 3 songs, fucking awesome. Just when you look up quality heavy metal, it's that first TT Quick EP. I can't recommend it highly enough. Fucking awesome.
Well, their reunion in 2000 was what produced their CD Ink, which was their, last outpouring.
I've not kept up with TT Quick, sadly. But I love that first album. Heathen. Heathen was a Lee Altus band that had a guitar player named Doug Piercy that he's kind of like a Swedish guy that we're friends with. I think that Piercy could kick Kirk Hammett's ass in 1983. I mean, that man could shred. Listen to the first Heathen record. Actually, the first 2 Heathen records are both fantastic. Just incredible guitar, great riffs. So here's the thing, right? So you had Exodus and Heathen kind of shared a lot of members, right? And between those 2 bands was probably the number 5 of the big 4 bands, because Exodus, they had the riffs and the snarl, and they had they were they were just killer, right? They're evil. Songs like Bonded by Blood and Piranha and just the denim and leather. But the solos in Exodus, I never thought Gary Holt was very good. Now, Heathen, on the other hand, was a little different. Heathen was clean vocals, longer songs, but fantastic guitar, a little more progressive oriented. So somehow, if you took the snarl of Exodus and put it with the virtuosity of Heathen, I think you would have had a band that could rival the Big 4.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I feel like we should play a song, and I feel like the song should have something to do with Gene. So let's play Testament's The Burning Time from the incredible Growly Demonic record.
Wow.
Snaggletooth loves hate mail.
Okay. The hate mail is okay this week. It's not as good as last week. All right. So I'm not going to tell you the full email address, but some intellectual called Phantom Board 667. That's actually not bad. Phantom Board.
I guess Phantom Lord 666 was taken.
I give him props for Phantom Board. That's actually not a bad name. Anyway, he wrote us an email basically bitching that I'm such an asshole because I trashed that Ved Buenzenda album. That was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Anyway. Well,
you're gonna disagree with some things,
That album is dog shit. And guess what? I've found a few more to piss you off. So here you go. These are records that the metal intelligentsia love and I think are crap. Let's start off with Gorguts Considered Dead. The album cover reminds me of Goosebumps.
Oh.
Watch.
Like the books?
Yeah. Look up the album. Gorgut's considered dead. Look it up.
Totally. Totally.
Gorgut's album, Goosebumps. And musically, now of course Gorguts went on to make some fantastic records later in their career, but Considered Dead is just a pale copy of Early Death. The man was not quite where his Canadian genius had not quite shown up yet. So fuck Gorguts and fuck you, Phantom Board. And I got a couple more. At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul is even worse than The Red in the Sky Is Ours, which I trashed a few weeks ago. That band is so flat. I don't know what is wrong with all of you that you like At the Gates so much. That stuff is crap. This album, Slaughter of the Soul, which gets so much adulation, it's just so generic. I hate the production. I'd prefer the metalcore bands that ripped them off later, the bands that they inspired. All that remains. Fuck, I'd take Shadows Fall over this. So fuck that and fuck you. Now here's the big one. I don't like Candlemass. Okay,
You don't?
I don't like Candlemass.
Why?
No, I think it's because growing up,
Yeah.
I was always more into Pentagram because I'm from Baltimore, and Pentagram were like doom
Okay.
legends. Trouble blew me away. I actually thought Metallica ripped off a lot from Trouble on Ride the Lightning because of the timing of the records. That early Trouble stuff is just fucking amazing, and that's a Cemetery band, like I mentioned earlier. And of course, Sabbath, right? I would not put Candlemass within 10 miles of any of those three bands. Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus. The song Solitude is okay. I think that's really the only good song on the record. I don't consider it to be a metal must-have. People put it in the same breath as like the first Serathon Gal record.
Really?
Merciful Fate's debut. Fuck no. So anyway, I mean, listen to like A Sorcerer's Pledge. It just meanders around. It's like, are we going to get a good riff? It's over. It never happens. And I'll tell you what, the albums later with Messiah Marcolin's vocals, the heavy metal monk singing. I don't want to listen to an album that makes me feel like I'm in church. It's like the mass in Candlemass is fucking real.
It's in their name.
Yeah. No. So there you go. Gorgut sucks. At the Gates sucks. And Candlemass sucks. And I call that album Epicus, Dumicus, Asleepicus.
How come the only hate mail I got, and maybe because I'm not as outspoken as you, was that my lipstick is too garish and I should go with a more neutral shade?
No, funny, nobody mentioned my lipstick at all.
To quote breakfast at Tiffany's, a girl can't handle this thing without her lipstick.
You're beautiful, my love.
And mine is always, I never go with neutral colors. Never. Sorry.
Let's play another song. What are we going to play?
All right, let's play another Gene Hoglan inspired. This is a cool one. Dark Angels cover of Immigrant Song.
I'm not sure if I like it to this day.
I think it's good.
Okay. Every time that song plays, I'm like, did you like it? I don't know. Did you like it?
It's kind of neat.
It's not the burning of Sodom. I mean, I'll
No.
say that. But anyway. All right. So it took us a while to come up with the big four that we were going to focus on. Remember last time we did chicken sandwiches and insurance mascots, right?
So we decided to stick with more mascots.
Yes. This time we're going to focus on the best mascots of breakfast cereals. Can he come up?
Come on.
Show the camera. Show Jackson on the camera.
Jackson. He left.
He left. Nonchalance. Okay.
Nothing.
So let's get on with it. This is the big four of cereal mascots. So we're going to start with the punters, the MODs, the blood cum levels. So why don't you take it away, babe?
All right. So on this level, we have the Diggum Frog.
I can't believe they can get away with that mascot.
I don't know why
It's
it
supposed
was.
to be like the cool skater kid frog or whatever.
I suppose.
For what's the cereal? It's
Sugar Smacks,
Sugar Smacks,
which was
yeah.
later changed to Honey Smacks.
which was later changed to hyperactive children. So it's got the highest sugar of anything we're going to talk about. I think. Yeah.
The Honey Nut Cheerios bee, who
I hate
always
him.
got on my nerves.
I hate him.
He
So
was
annoying.
always pushing.
It's,
push
didn't
your
it seem
ball.
like he was getting on the nerves of the people in the commercial?
Yes, they were like, "Oh, goddamn day!"
They're like, I'm eating your fucking cereal. Get away. Yeah. He was like, don't forget, it's part of a nutritious breakfast, but you also have to eat yogurt and toast and orange juice and whatever else.
Just a touch of honey. And he was always trying to push the honey over.
That is actually something that in all of them, they always said, part of a nutritious breakfast. They'd be like, you can eat this sugary shit, but you also have to have an entire meal with it. I always thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Juice and toast and bacon and eggs and whatever.
Right, all that. Just cereal. Who had time for all that in the
How
morning?
about Sonny from Kellogg's Raisin Bran? The 2 scoops.
Yeah, he got on my nerves too. 2 scoops. Da, 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 da. He was a little bit, you know me, in the morning. Like you got me the sign. A fun thing to do in the morning is not talk to me.
Yeah,
I'm not conscious. I'm grouchy. I don't want to banter. I don't even like bright lights. Mogwai. But no, I never really like
her walk to the shower in the morning is like the procession up Golgotha. I mean, it's like dumb.
It could be an album cover.
Yeah.
It's that dark.
Raisin Bran sucks anyway. For me, it was always ended up being just a hunting the bowl for the raisins. That's all it was. It's like the only time that you're like, I get one more raisin. And I never really thought they'd put 2 scoops in.
Yeah.
Maybe half a scoop at the most. All right. So we had Diggum Frog, Honey Nut Cheerios Bee, and Sunny. Let's move on to the steady hitters. This is like the kind of the heathen flotsam and jetsam nuclear salt level. You want to go?
So first there's Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs bird, Sunny. Yeah, he was
Cocoa
always...
Puffs were great. Turned the milk, made the milk chocolate. That was
chocolate milk.
That was mind blowing. You put it in milk and it becomes chocolate milk.
Somebody actually got me a cereal bowl and it was equipped with a straw attachment, so you could just drink it through the straw when you were done eating instead of pouring it down the front of yourself.
We didn't have Facebook back then.
It was probably on Shark Tank at some point.
How about Snap, Crackle, and Pop? I always thought they were like kind of like the nerds at school that always wanted to keep the teacher pet type of thing.
I did like to listen for the Snap, Crackle, and Pop when you poured the milk in there. You just got your hair, wet with milk listening to them.
That cereal was great if you put a ton of sugar on top of it.
You had to. It was one of the things in college because I was too lazy to go. I lived in the junior senior dorm, sophomore on, and the cafeteria was in the freshman sophomore dorm.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get up so late. I always had 8 o'clock classes. I didn't have time to go all the way to the other side of campus to eat, even though my dad paid for me to have 3 meals a day. Instead, I would go down. We had this little cafe, and for like $1.25, I think you could buy a box of Rice Krispies. And I would dump it in a bowl and put some sugar on it.
Yeah, Rice Krispies are good, but either you make them into Rice Krispie treats with a shitload of marshmallow, or you put sugar on them. So, I mean, definitely epic fail with Snap,
Crackle, and I always thought
Snap,
Crackle, and Pop were somehow the long lost relatives of the Keebler elves.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
What they should have had was Snap, Crackle, Pop, and Bag of Sugar, because that's really what you need.
Well, remember, they actually had Pal, which was they tried to introduce another character that was supposed to stand for the nutritional element of the cereal, but it didn't go over. So they went back to Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
I'm astounded at your breakfast cereal knowledge.
Little known fact.
This woman knows her cereal. All right, let's move on to the next. Oh, wait a minute. We forgot one. Jarvis, the wizard from Cookie Crisp.
Oh. Cookies for breakfast, and he cast a magical spell on your parents so they didn't know you were eating cookies. I think that was his wizarding.
It really did taste like cookies for breakfast. I mean, what could be better than pumping yourself full of cookies and milk in the morning? I mean, this is for parents that have just completely thrown in the towel, like mine had. So, yeah, but he's like a little Merlin guy.
Yeah.
Their mascot could have been Satan himself, and I would have been like, I'll take the box. I'll take it. Cookies, bring it over here. Yeah. They're just like, rah.
Yeah, it was like the opposite of Kix, which had absolutely no taste.
It was like, Okay, let's move on. This is the Thrasher level, Overkill, Testament, Dark Angel level. We're getting into the good stuff now. Toucan Sam. I like Fruit Loops. They're very good. A little bit of sugar in there too.
Follow his nose. He always knows.
For flavors of fruit, just follow your snoot. That's what it was. Yeah, see? I mean, I think I could hear Dark Angel doing a cover of that.
But he was always kind of like luring the kids with that to his bowl of Fruit Loops. So. Yeah.
Follow my nose. Don't you always follow weird parrots that say that they can deliver you a nice breakfast?
He was a toucan.
Oh, he's a toucan. Sorry. Yeah. Toucan Sam. Yeah. Let's move on. What about Count Chocula and his company? I
Oh,
guess
Count Chocula. It was
Booberry.
Blueberry and Frankenberry.
Frankenberry. But I don't remember Booberry Frankenberry ever having
know,
like a starring role in a commercial.
They were very much more sedate, I guess, because they were monsters. Count Chocolate did most of the talking, but I kind of like Blueberry because he was quiet in the morning and he turned your milk kind of purple blue.
We wouldn't have kicked any of the three of them out of bed. We loved all three if when my parents brought them home. But Count Chocula seemed to get the most screen time.
I always liked Fruity Pebbles, but they didn't actually have a mascot. They had endorsers because Fred and Barney were already stars, so they're not really mascots.
My brothers and I would kill each other over Cocoa Pebbles. I mean, you're talking fisticuffs. This is crack for children. Before we get to the big four,
yeah.
I just want to say that I don't think they come up with any new ones. Like all of these that we've mentioned are from like the 60s and 70s. Yep. Now, as much as it's almost like the creativity has shifted to, like we said, Geico and Progressive, like they're creating mascots for car insurance, but cereal, like there's no new, there's no new Count Chocula. There's no new Honeybee from Honey Nut Cheerios. It's like it stopped.
I don't know. I think kids are less like we were so into cartoons, and I think the kids today, there's so many entertainment choices out there. Yeah. They're like cartoons, whatever. That's so.
It must be what it is. Yeah. I don't even know. I couldn't tell a new cereal that's been out. If you put a gun in my head, but it's weird that all these cereals. You go to a grocery store in 2022, and it's still got the dumb Sunny from the 1970s on Raisin Bran. Or Dig 'em Frog.
Now it's 3,000 flavors of Cheerios, Special K. And they keep trying to put stuff in that to make it edible, like berries. It's still not edible.
We were talking about this earlier.
And it's like adult cereals, but
there is so much variety in the grocery store now. When we were growing up, there was one kind of Oreos. They didn't even have double stuff yet. When Oreos came out with double stuff and said it's the same price, I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was like, double stuff with no additional charge. Of course, there are less cookies, but still.
By the way, cooking hint, if you're using Oreos, grinding them up to make like a crust for, say, chocolate cheesecake, the double stuff makes it stick together better.
Delicious. So yeah, Oreos, I think, win the award. There's like, I saw Carnival kettle corn flavored Oreos.
Well, they've got all kinds, like kind of even gross, that like the mint ones. They've got ones that are dipped in chocolate. They've got usually around every holiday. They've like St. Patrick's Day. There's a green one. They got Easter ones.
I saw red velvet
cream.
I saw red velvet cake flavor. Yeah,
it just goes on and on.
It's like the Oreo people are just like anything you can think of. We'll make it in an Oreo. Anything you think of.
Kit Kat's the same way. They've got like.
Well, their Kit Kat's kind of new on the block.
Strawberry and strawberry layers, and they've got 3,000.
The Reese's peanut butter cup people have started to jump on the bandwagon with the yummy potato chip.
And they have one that I was like addicted to for a while. It's a Reese's peanut butter cup with Reese's Pieces in it.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
there's one with pretzels in it now. Yeah, there's just so much variety now. Another one that's got a lot of variety. We didn't talk about this one. Doritos.
There's
1,000 different kinds of Doritos.
Although
different shapes and different, like Doritos 3D. And what the fuck is Dream flavored Coke? I thought I was like, what's happening right now? Dream flavored? What does a dream taste like?
Yeah.
Bizarre. Anyway, are we ready for the big four?
We are ready for the big four.
All right.
We have digressed enough.
All right. So we'll start with who is the Anthrax of breakfast cereal mascots? I'll let you just.
All right. I think I'm going to go from Lucky from Lucky Charms.
Oh, okay. So you put Lucky on Anthrax level. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I always thought he was a little annoying too, but he always had to describe all his marshmallow flavors, which is really just different color.
I think that might have been my favorite cereal though, growing up, was Lucky Charms, because there's marshmallows. They came out with an all marshmallow version. Again, it's like the double stuff. Yeah.
But he always did the little frosted Lucky Charms, so magically delicious, and of course there were rainbows and dancing.
I remember being 12 years old and going, for the love of God, catch the fucker. I'm getting tired of these commercials. But I loved his cereal. All right, I'm up.
Yep.
So let's go to the Megadeth level. I'm going to go with the Trix Rabbit.
Yeah.
is the Megadeth level. I mean, he was up to some zany antics typically. And Trix was a pretty good singer. I didn't mind it.
I always felt bad because he always almost got them. And then it was, no, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids.
Yeah,
and
you-
he'd be like, oh,
you always
man,
kinda felt
he
sorry
never
for him.
got them. It was like the coyote after a while.
What was the rabbit for the quick milk, the chocolate milk? I
With
used to
the
get
Q.
I used to get those two confused. The quick rabbit and the Trix rabbit. I was like, these two should get together. All right, and I'm going to say it, and I know that you guys want to hear it because we're from Baltimore, but so I got blue arms. So what? Doesn't make me a bad person. Silly rabbit. Kicks are for kids.
Tricks.
Yeah, but in the
Kicks are
song, it's kicks are for kids.
Kicks are for kids.
Yeah. All right, we're up to the slayer of breakfast cereals.
All right, I'm gonna go with Captain Crunch.
Did you know that Captain Crunch has like a full name?
Yeah.
If you look it up online,
I actually used to do like
look it up. You gotta look it up.
Before phones,
Mhm.
all you had to stare at the breakfast table was the back of the full name of Captain Crunch. Was the back of the box?
Horatio Magellan Crunch. According to PepsiCo.
Horatio Magellan.
Horatio Magellan Crunch.
Were you aware of that, dear readers?
Horatio Magellan Crunch.
Yeah.
So I guess he was also an explorer as well as a captain.
I'm going to make the perfect link. SOD has a song called Captain Crunch. And I remember after I got the SOD album, I saw some interview. It was either Billy Milano or Scotty, and he had a Captain Crunch t-shirt on. And I was like, want it.
I love Peanut Butter Crunch. It was my favorite, I think, out of all the breakfast.
Was it? What is it? The Fruit Pebbles? When the fruit? I don't know, whatever. But anyway.
Oh, was it in the Captain Crunch? They came out with the berry version.
That's what's berry.
That had the berries.
And then they had all berries. And
it was Crunch Berries. Crunch
Berries. That's right. And then when they did all berries, it falls right in there with double stuff. Yeah, all berries and all marshmallows. Just bring it on. All right. So we got the Metallica, the big one of the four. Who have we not mentioned yet? It's got to be Tony the Tiger.
They're great.
Yeah.
That was his entire tagline.
He's not really changed hardly at all over the years.
There wasn't like a huge song or it wasn't a whole, it's just, they're great. And they had this one wonderful commercial where he and Shaq were trying to say who did it better, either the Shaq or him.
Yeah.
And he was like, I won. Tony the Tiger was like, I won. Get away with your Shaq.
I had this weird friend in like 7th and 8th grade, and we used to like spend the night over each other's houses. And I remember, this is so weird to me. His father called us to breakfast and said, his name was Frank. He's like, Frank, got your Frosted Flakes extra soggy like you like them.
Oh, gross.
And I was like, oh, nasty. Yeah. So yeah, him and his father would like pour the milk and then wait 10 minutes till it was mush.
No.
Ugh, no, it's got to be crunchy for me. Yeah, but I could tear up some Frosted Flakes. Yep.
But the Frosted Flakes, there was no berries or marshmallows.
There is now. Now there's all kinds of flavors. There's all kinds of flavors.
I always was a purist. I just like the frosted freaking
Nothing
flakes.
stays the same anymore. Everything has a million flavors now. It's just the way it is. Because we all have the attention span of a gnat. So anyway, so there it is. Tony the Tiger. Crunch it up.
I'd like to bring you new products from our sponsor, Ren Skincare. This is an online company. They have everything you could possibly want for your skin. They've got face wash, moisturizers, oils, anti-aging. They've got blemish treatments, dry skin. Everything is great for sensitive skin. They're super conscious about the environment. All their bottles are 100% recycled, but along with that, they have some great products. One of my favorites is the Atlantic Kelp Magnesium Ocean Body Wash. This is sulfate-free. It has magnesium to bring you energy. I don't know if it actually does, but that smell is it's oh my God, it smells so good and clean, and you just want more and more of it.
We call it the cocaine body wash.
A new product I tried by them, it's called Ready Steady Glow. Get it? Ready Steady Glow. It's an exfoliating AHA acid. It brightens your skin. It tones it. It hydrates it. So it does everything for you all at once in one product. They have many products at Ren. If you want, you can go on their website, take their skin quiz. Also, if you want, at no additional cost, you can actually text with an esthetician, and you can text them, I guess, whenever you want, and they can send you Ren recommendations for whatever skin concern that you have. So click on the link in our notes and go over to Ren, and you will get $20 off your first order.
So as you're preparing to go jump in the pit at the Worm Witch show, you can smell lovely.
It's very important.
All right, you hear that sound? It is time for blaspheming monikers.
Oh, no.
Stacy's favorite show that she knocks out of the park every time. So I don't know how you're going to expect to get these right. We even stumped. We didn't stump Worm Witch, but we stumped a lot of people with this. We stumped Traveler. We stumped a lot.
Wilderun.
Wilderun. Yeah, oh, sorry, Wilderun. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Blaspheming monikers. I am going to read off 4 band names. 3 of which I have lifted from the Metal Archives, but 1 of which is fake, and Stace has to try to figure out which one of these is not real. Oh, we don't like that. Oh, we don't like that. That's not a proper one. Oh, it's not real. Okay. The first band, Jewicide. Jewi side. Kind of like Deicide, except I guess for Jewish people. Band number 2, Decimation Codex.
Codex.
Band number 3, ...
Is it Morse code?
And band number 4, Created from Pigs Mutilation. So there's your 4 choices.
All right.
Think about it, and let's hear your thought.
Jewicide sounds like it could actually be somebody's bad idea for a band name. Decimation Code. I want to say Decimation Codex, but that's an entirely different thing. But also bloody album cover.
That would be better.
Yeah.
Decimation Codex.
Because pretty much you do decimate them. ... I think, and then Created from Pigs Mutilation. I know there's a lot of pigs in mutilation, and it's a shun. So I'm going to go with ... because who names their thrash band after Morse code?
Let's look and see.
AKA 3 dots in brackets. So it's not like Morse code. It's literally 3 periods in brackets.
Depressive black metal from Cremona, Italy, and Florida, USA.
That's quite a blend.
Look at this. They got a few albums out. They got, what's that? A demo, an EP.
2017 through 2012.
2 splits.
They're active? ...
is a band.
Huh.
Yep. 3 dots.
Interesting. And I like their current label, Pest Productions.
They're active too.
They're active.
They had a spell between 2012. Look, they were active 2006 to 2013, and then 2013 to practice. What, they take a month off or something?
Yeah.
Try to think of a new band name.
Change.
Yeah. Great job doing a Google search on ... All right, so that's 1 strike, babe. Okay.
No, that's not where they got their name.
What's your next guess? Which one do you think might be fake?
All right. How about Jewicide? Because that's a horrible name. Sounds very.
There's 2, actually.
There's 2?
Yep, there's 2 bands.
France, they're split up.
The black metal from France split up.
Raw black metal.
This one is from Dallas,
Texas.
Look at that.
There's not a lot of information. Oh, wow.
Prism of Hate. Oh, it's got a rating of 17%.
Oh. Not a real big rating on this.
Wow.
Prism of Hate. Yeah. And they got the little Jewish star on there. Wow.
Look, there's 4 reviews for it. Holy shit. All right. So
the Prism of Sucking Ass.
Yep.
Was one of the names of the reviews.
Okay.
So interesting.
So, all right. So you got 2 choices left.
All right. Decimation Codex cannot possibly be a
ding,
show.
ding, ding. You got it. Hooray. Okay. So let's look up
Process of Elimination.
Let's look up Created from Pigs Mutilation.
All right.
Yeah, that one's true. You're getting better at this.
Well, yeah, slightly. I used to go the whole distance.
Look at that logo.
Created from Pigs Mutilation. It's a shun.
It is. From Italy.
Oh, wow.
Ghastly Music is a label. They're active.
Lyrical themes are gore and atrocities. I figured that way. It was mutilation.
They have 1 demo from 2012.
That's it.
Oh, and they're wearing fucking shorts on the picture.
It says they're active though, so there is a chance we'll get more
You get your picture for the Metal Archives. You wear fucking shorts.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Actually, two of the members have shorts on.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's the atrocities. We're wearing atrocities. Those fucking shorts are the atrocity. Let's get rid of that. All right, this has been Blasphemous Monikers with Stace. This was a fun interview with Gene Hoglan. It really was. He even shows us some sores on his fingers from drumming. So,
he's very multi-talented with drummer creativity. He even uses sometimes abstract devices for percussion effects, although I don't know what it would be, But he also does this like stop action photography with the drumsticks, which we talk about, which he does these crazy like lit up colorful drumsticks that he makes even art with, as well as just being one of the most fantastic drummers to ever be in how many bands?
Super nice guy too. I mean, where do you come up with questions for someone like Gene Hoglan? You have Death, you have a Dark Angel, you have Death Clock, you have Strapping Young Lad, just a journeyman and Testament, just all the bands that he's been in. He is such an integral part of the whole Big Four
Fear
and
Factory.
Beyond thing. Fear Factory, yeah. I mean, just wow. So check this interview out. Again, I'm not sure. I think we're a little dark. We got to turn the lights up behind us.
Oh, it was like 10 o'clock at night.
It was 10 o'clock at night and I was drinking. So,
but he was self-taught. He got his first drum kit at 13 and taught himself.
Don't worry. There's a few legendary Slayer stories that I get out of him too. So take it away. All right. Well, then in that case, you've probably been asked this one a million times, but I have to lead off with it.
I knew he was going to geek out with this.
Yeah, I have to. All right. So the legend of the recording of Chemical Warfare. Did you really lay on the floor and hold Lombardo's bass drum?
I sure did. Absolutely. Yeah, man. I was right down there and
talk about that, because that song is just so iconic. I mean,
it sure is. I tell you what. Yeah, it was. Oh, thank you, Sugar. Yeah, it was, I believe that was probably his first tune that he had tracked maybe that day. And that was at a place called Track Records in Hollywood. And there was no like drum carpet or anything like that down. Right. It was just on the concrete floor. And, everybody was so new to recording back then anyway, that Dave was about ready to track, and then he's like, "Hey, man, can somebody come in here and hold my kick drum because it just keeps walking?" Oh. And then all of a sudden, there was about like six heads that turned in my direction because they're like, "You're the drummer here, guys. So you head out there." So I'm down there, just kneeling on the floor, and I got my arm wrapped around mic stands and cymbal stands, and I'm just holding his drums in place, and that the tom, that one was right over my head. And I remember Dave was using these Evans hydraulic heads, and they were purple, therefore they were clear, you could see through them. And that's to this day, that is my remembrance of that song. That's my initial go-to memory when I hear that song, is that tom right above my head, watching the stick just dropping right down on it.
That's so awesome.
And and I just remember going after he kicked into the song, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Dave, I sure hope you can nail this thing in 1 or 2 takes, because if we're here for like 3 or 4 hours, I'm going to die." But yeah, so that's eternally my memory of that song, is just floor tom. I mean, third rack tom right there. So that's pretty fun.
Wow, no, that's great.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Because sometimes I don't trust Wikipedia. I it's not always 100%. So
yeah, fair enough.
What do you got?
Well, you've been super busy lately. It's been festival season for you, for sure.
Darn tootin', absolutely.
Like you have 2 coming up.
Sure do. Yeah, we just finished a Death to All European run, and we played a whole bunch of the festivals out there, and that was great. What a fantastic run that was. And it was just really killer to play, pay a good homage to Chuck, and play with my brothers, Steve DiGiorgio and Bobby Coble, and Max Phelps as well. And so that was a true blast, and that's a good old workout every single night, playing Death stuff. And when we weren't playing festivals, we were playing, our own shows, and we have a 2 hour and 15-minute set of, it's pretty, bam, 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 one tune
Yeah.
after another kind of thing. So we would play about 20 songs, and a lot of them were flying double bass songs. So I got my legs in shape on that tour.
Yeah.
Totally. So coming up next week, we have a couple of shows with Dark Angel out in Europe, doing a couple of festivals. The Moto Culture Festival, and that's going to be
Yeah.
killer. And then that's in France. And then the next day um, we have the Metal Me On Festival in Belgium. So we're really looking forward to that. We just had a Dark Angel jam today with the 3 members from California. And so I live in San Diego, and my wife Lara is joining us on stage. Jim Durkin can't make some of these shows, so we got my wife, the incredibly talented and beautiful Lara Christine, on guitar, and so we are the tightest we've ever been. We're just crushing. Eric Meyer, who lives in Huntington Beach, California, he drives down, and we did some jams. And so on Monday and Tuesday, the rest of the guys, Ron Reinhardt on vocals and Mike Gonzalez on bass, they swing on over to San Diego, and we get a couple of full band jams in. And then on Wednesday, we wing on over to Europe and jam with the
Awesome.
Stones. So that's going to be pretty good.
That's great.
Do you have like any rituals, like pre-show, that you need to do or anything you need to listen to or drink or eat? 'Cause that's a lot of energy.
Well, I tell you what, my most important pre-show ritual would be taking a nap. Seriously, man, that's what I've been doing that for God, 20 something years, 25 years at least, something like that. So I think that probably heads back to my days when I was drinking, because I'd have to sleep off the hangover from the night before just to get some energy, and I've never been a hard drug doer or anything like that. So it's not like I'm gonna do some cocaine to get up for the show. That's not my action. It's like, I'll take a nap instead. So that's pretty much my pre-show ritual. I do a little bit of stretching, a little bit of warming up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I warm up with big old heavy drumsticks, and I wear leg weights for a large portion of the show. And I'll pop them off before the songs start getting really blisteringly fast on the double kicks there. So yeah, those are the majority of my rituals.
So you don't need any additional workout. That's probably enough cardio for you.
I tell you what, boy, it is a cardio workout. Like,
I believe it.
Our rehearsal studio here in San Diego, it gets pretty steamy, and we jammed a couple of days ago with Eric, Lara, and myself did. And after the jam, I was wearing some track pants or something like that, and Lara was like, "Holy moly, I've never seen I know what those pants look like. Those pants look, I mean, you look like you just jumped out of a swimming pool." And I remember, and Eric was like, "Hey, let me check that out." So he reaches over and he brushes his hand across my pants. I was about to say, "Dude, don't do that."
Yeah.
Like you're about
Boundaries.
to slime. I don't mind him touching me, but I'm just like, I tried to dissuade him from sliming himself across my pants there. But yeah, man, it is quite the cardio workout. Absolutely.
Now, just going back to the death stuff, do you guys go do the full catalog? You go back to like Zombie Ritual? I mean, are you doing all
Absolutely.
the albums?
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of response? What song gets the biggest response, do you think?
They all do.
Yeah, they would from me. Yeah.
It is such, because we do run the gamut with the catalog. We don't believe in just concentrating on, say, the albums we did or a certain era of death or anything like that. We believe in doing the entire catalog. So you got a lot of the old hardcore death metal heads that are super duper into the earlier material. That's understandable. And then you got some of the younger guys that are kind of the guitar, real guitar wizard kind of, that's what their interest is. and they like the technical death metal kind of thing. They appreciate the latter era of death. But all we try to do is really entertain everybody and make everybody leave there with a big old smile on their face. And that is pretty cool. You know, we have guys in the front row, like some grizzled old grizzlers that have tears streaming down their face, you know, and saying, "Thank you for doing
I'm one of them.
this," You know,
I'm one of them.
that's cool.
When he wore the kitty cat shirt, I needed therapy after that.
Yeah,
I did.
right?
I
That's
had
pretty
I
cool.
needed some couch time for years after the kitty
Yeah.
cat shirt. Yeah.
Well, Chuck loved his animals, man. He always used to say, "Man, people suck, animals rule." You know, that was one of his mantras there. You know, you got to
I've gotten
agree
over
with
it, but I still have the dreams. You know.
it.
With the Death to All, I saw was sold out in Europe. Are you guys gonna bring that over to the U.S.?
We are sure hoping so. Absolutely. You know, we'll see how 2023 transpires, but yeah, we're excited to uh, give it a shot. Absolutely.
It's great.
Do you guys have a particular bromance with any other bands that you play with in the festivals?
Well, let me see. I got to bump into my bros in Mastodon quite a bit over there, and those guys have been my pals for just about ever. So that was really cool. We shared a lot of the same days with them.
Yeah, Brand Daler's he's no hack. Brand Daler.
Right? What an incredible drummer he is. Incredible vocalist. Absolutely. You know, and he's a good pal. He's always really he's one of the more humorous gentlemen I know. Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Oh man, he's a fun guy. Totally. He doesn't take anything too seriously, and I've always appreciated that. So and getting to see the guys from Opeth, that was great. And
Love them.
Yeah.
we actually met Michael Paulson from Volbeat. He stopped by our dressing room and just wanted to say, "Guys, you know, I'm a big fan," and it's nice. It was myself and Stevie D right there, and
It's great.
so that was pretty cool. And he was explaining that, yeah, man, I remember this. I believe he wrote the liner notes to Spiritual Healing's re-release, and so yeah, it was nice to chat with that guy. But we're pals with everybody. I'm pals with everybody, so I always have a good time when I get to see my pals for a little bit. And a lot of times it's like you're running to the stage, they're running from the stage. You know, so it's like,
Yeah.
"Dude, good to see you, man. How you doing?" You know, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But it's always really fun.
I'm go back again. So when Dark Angel covered the Immigrant Song,
Mm-hmm.
that year, that couple of years, there was this strange phenomenon where a lot of the thrash bands were doing covers.
I remember
What
that.
was
I
the
remember
impetus
that
of
very well.
doing that?
Well, I remember when it kind of predating that influx, you know, that flood of all thrash bands covering other songs.
Yeah.
On Darkness Descends, we covered War Pigs by Black Sabbath, and for the session of Darkness Descends, we tracked the song. But I remember I tracked it on my own. I remember that I think the day that I tracked that song, I think I played it to myself, you know, just played it from memory kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then when the rest of the band went to go track the song, they're like, "Hey, Gene, do you realize that you left out the third verse?" And I'm like, "Oh no." And this was pre-Pro Tools. You can't just like cut and paste and
Oh, right.
fire something in, you know, just cut the second verse and pop it in. It's only a verse and a big pile of stuff. You had to re-record everything, and the drums were already done by the time, you know, that was pretty much our final song to track. We got the rest of the original material done, and then I believe it was probably Eric who went to go track the guitars for that one, and he's like, "Hey, man, there's no third verse." So we're like, shoot, we cannot put this on, you know, Darkness Descends, you know, which Black Sabbath, even then, you know, 1986. Remember, in 1986, Black Sabbath was getting no love from anybody.
It's hard to
They-
believe now, but I do remember that. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you're of that era, man. You remember when, you know, Tony Iommi had yet to release that, you know, Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi, Seventh Star record,
With Glenn
Their
Hughes.
right?
Yeah.
And
Glenn Hughes.
you know, the album that most earliest preceded that era was the Born Again record. And you know, a lot of people say, man, that wasn't a very Black Sabbathy record either. You know, Ian Gillan on vocals.
Yeah.
I love all Sabbath
I
material.
love that album. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. It had some great songs on it.
And they had
And,
Stonehenge. They had fucking
Yeah.
Stonehenge
Yeah,
on
right?
on the stage.
That's pretty fun. That is true. So yeah, man, that's we tracked. You know, we got our little cover in there beforehand, but the rest of the world did not know it. So
Yeah.
by the reason we did Immigrant Song was, I remember when Ron Reinhardt came to his first Dark Angel rehearsal. You know, we had lost the previous vocalist, and we were going through quite a number of vocalists at the time. You know, we weren't quite finding the guy yet. We had a lot of real talented guys, a lot of guys that were really into being a part of Dark Angel, but
Yeah.
there was just something kind of missing about each one of these guys we were trying out. And when Ron came down, you know, Ron, I had seen Ron in his prior band in Los Angeles. I saw him play the Whiskey. And when it was either Eric or Jim Durkin, it might have been Jim, saying, I got a call from a guy named Ron. He was in this band. It was a band called Messiahs, like Messiah with an S on the end, Messiahs.
Okay.
And I was like, I saw that guy sing. That guy's great. And he's covered in tattoos, man. Like, nobody looks like this guy. Like, and he had a great voice, killer stage presence. So yeah, man, I'm excited for this. And we had him come down. Like, hey man, we're rehearsing anyway. Come on down, check out the band, meet the guys, see what you think, and you know, we'll carry forward if you're into it. And he dug the jam, and he dug the whole Dark Angel thing. And we're like, hey man, you want to maybe how about we try a cover song or something?
Yeah.
You know, just try something just to try you out and see what we do. And we had been fooling around with the Immigrant Song, just having fun playing it, nothing serious. And we mentioned, you know, the Immigrant Song by Zeppelin. He's like, yeah, man, let's do it. So that was the very first song that we ever played with Ron Reinhardt. And so it was just kind of a natural evolution that's like, hey man, let's fire that one on. Just it wasn't because, oh, everybody and their mom is doing cover songs now. It was just like, here's a little homage to our very first hang together, you know. So,
That's awesome.
so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the first time I heard that, I was in the car with my buddy, and we were listening to that album for the first time. And I looked at him and said, "What just happened?"
No, that's fun. Boy, we butchered the hell out of it to a lot of Zeppelin fans, man.
No, I think it's great. It just, I really didn't know what to think of it, you know. So, but no, that's great.
We put the Dark Angel caffeinated approach to it, you know, and so, hey man, we made it ours. Definitely, man. We did not try to follow
Absolutely.
the original arrangement all that much, but I just love Ron's voice, man. I mean, when we kicked into that song at that very first rehearsal, I was like, oh my God, this is our guy. You know, we can do so much with the vocals now. And then we just had him bark for the entire Leave Scars record.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that was the one thing where it's like, the man can't sing, you know, he's got a range to him, but that was the only song that kind of showed a little bit of what he could do. So there you go.
You lit a fire under Testament at a time when it seemed like everybody related to the Big Four and beyond was just faltering. And that album is still so fucking incredible. Like, what led them to you and you to them? I mean, for that record.
Was that the what's that one? The Byron album?
Demonic.
Oh, Demonic. Holy moly.
Demonic.
Okay, I was thinking of the one
With
later,
the death grunts from Chuck. Yeah.
That's right. Well, I had gotten a call from Chuck in, you know, I remember going to see Testament, and they had played one of the smaller LA clubs, and this was in 1996. Chris Contos was on drums for them, and I believe James was still playing guitar for him. So this was in about springtime of 1996. A lot of the evolution of music was happening at the time, like, Korn was doing their thing, and that
It
a
was getting
lot of
dark
the
for a lot of the traditional metal
indeed,
bands were
absolutely.
they were suffering. Yeah. If you wanted to get an autograph from fucking Bruce Dickinson, that was when you did it because
Yeah, indeed.
yeah, they were playing clubs,
Yeah, they were. I remember seeing Maiden in '96
Oh yeah.
playing a small place in LA, a
Just
place called
seems
the
so
Palace.
wrong.
Absolutely.
I
And
love your bus, by the way. Run to the wheels.
oh, that's pretty fun. Yeah, that just a bus that we rented. I was just a bus over there, over in Europe. But we had, yeah, Chuck I remember at that show, Chuck's like, "Hey, man, I just got a copy of the new Pantera. I just got an advance of, what was to become the Great Southern Trendkill." I remember we sat in the back of Chuck's bus and checked that one out, and he didn't really mention anything like, Chris is temporary or anything, Chris Contos.
Right.
But I got a call from him not that long afterwards saying, "Hey, you know what? Eric and I were looking to kind of maybe branch out a little bit away from Testament. We're not sure if we're going to continue Testament, but how would you feel about coming up and writing some material with us and seeing where that can go?" And I was like, "Dang, man, I have no problem working with Chuck Billy. The man's got a big old voice, like."
Oh yeah.
I mentioned many times, man, when I saw him, we did some shows with him back in like 1990 or something. And when he's like, "Preach," I'm just like, holy moly, right there. I want to work with that man. Totally.
Oh yeah.
And so when I went up to the Bay Area and started rehearsing with him, Chuck was feeling his way around like his vocal style, like the band was not necessarily going to be Testament. I mean, he had told me the working name of the band that they were looking to use, and I'm like, that song title. It was one of their prior album song titles. Song was a kick-ass song and had quite a bit of death metal vocals in it. But they were considering calling the band this, the title off one of the earlier songs. And so I believe that might have been how it started evolving, that, we rehearsed for a number of months, and I don't even know if Chuck remembers any of this. That it started kind of evolving back into where I believe they were getting explained to by record labels that, hey man, guys, just continue with Testament, just ride out the wave, ride out the storm with the tried and true name that you guys have established for yourselves. So, don't pack all that in to create a new project here. And it was kind of like, well, a whole lot of this material has been written already. And let me tell you, man, when Chuck is singing death metal, I've mentioned this before, man, just the ground rumble underneath Chuck. It was pretty darn incredible just hearing his voice, and that was really exciting. So I'm like, well, I just came from, pretty landmark death metal band. Looks like I'm going to be involved in another pretty darn landmark death metal band. I mean, Chuck was brand new to death metal vocals, but let me tell you, he sang death metal unlike anybody else. There was some conviction and some ground movement when he was singing. So I'm like, hell, man, just keep writing heavy stuff, And I remember that their other rhythm guitarist at the time was Derek Ramirez, who is Eric Peterson's cousin. And I believe Derek was the original guitarist for Legacy. I believe Alex Skolnick might have replaced Derek. Okay. So Derek had come back into the fold, and Derek and I became instant pals, man, totally. And I remember Derek was pushing Chuck like, dude, go heavier, man. Sing heavy, man. Go death metal, you know? And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Derek likes to give me half of the credit or blame for that. Remember that, Gene? You and me were the one pushing Chuck. And I'm like, hey, man, I'll take the credit or the blame, whichever. So there you go. But I thought Demonic was a killer record. I thought it was killer, you know, and I do think maybe it was a little surprising for Testament fans.
Yeah.
But, you know, hey, man, I've said it many times. You can never go wrong if you err on the side of heavier.
Right.
Yeah.
Kick ass. You know,
That's
go
an interesting
heavier.
point. And I wanted to point this out to you. So, of the kind of Big Four and beyond family, as thrash started to kind of disintegrate and people started to get into other projects, there were only two men that went into, like you just said, heavier. Danny Liker from Nuclear Assault went to Brutal Truth, and you did fucking Death and the stuff with everybody else did like prog rock or,
Sure.
you know what I mean? And I just, what made you go heavier? I mean,
Well, that's pretty kick ass, man. I never
it
thought
is,
about
isn't it?
I'm like, well, I am like growing up, and when thrash metal started coming around, and I am OG thrash metal. I am from the absolute ground floor, the initial big bang of thrash. I'm a part of that scene, so I'm like, well, I'm okay with evolving into something heavier, you know. When I got the call from Chuck, like, hey man, would you be interested in checking out some of the material? I've mentioned this before, that I kind of thought that it was going, you know, after Death was coming off the just groundbreaking Human album.
Yeah.
I was like, man, like Chuck Schuldiner, myself, boy, we're just gonna be this death metal apocalypse, you know. This is going to be great. I'll put my savagery to the whole thing and it's going to be great. And Chuck was actually going in a rather more melodic kind of
cats, I know. Yeah.
And Chuck was like, I gotta write kitty cats, absolutely.
Sorry, can't help it.
I gotta write what I feel, you know. I've done all that, you know, all the heavy stuff. I've done that. So I just got to follow my vision, my dream. And I'm like, sounds good to me, Chuck. I'm all about following vision. And if the rest of the world is going this way and you want to go this way, I'm all for that. I love doing that as well. So, you know, there was two like minds there. And so, you know, going from the mighty thrash era that completely gave birth to death metal. I mean, that's apparent. That's very obvious. to then step up to the next layer of heaviness. Kick ass, man. I'm all about that. I'm fine with going heavier all the time. You know, I don't have a physique or a face for MTV top radio, top 40 hit kind of hard rock.
You're not willing to go head to head with David Coverdale.
That kind of thing, you know. It's like, man, I'm cool with keeping it just grisly and grinding and brutal. Yeah, absolutely.
I
So
don't know. I totally think that you could. I saw that picture of you with Lars. You make him look like a tiny guy. How tall are you?
well, I am 6'4", and you know, Lars is a rather diminutive man. But yeah, man, I remember God. You know, all of Testament, with the exception of one member, are all over 6 feet tall.
Really?
And I remember, yeah, man. You know, Stevie D, Steve DiGiorgio says he's 6'4". I'm like, dude, you're 6'5". I'm like, just admit you're 6'5". You're not 6'4". You're taller than me. He's like, no, I'm 6'4", man. And Chuck is 6'3", and Alex is about 6 foot or 6'1". And I remember Ice-T, you know, like we met Ice-T and all that, and he already knew Chuck and a couple of the other guys, but he's come up to me talking to me. He's like, damn, man, you have to be like a giant to be in Testament? And I was like, apparently, man. So
it's like when I saw Merciful Fate, Charlie D'Angelo is like 9 feet tall, and you know, King Diamond is like this tiny guy. That was a strange.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. So, I wanted to ask you also well, why don't you go ahead?
Oh,
You go ahead.
well, I was interested. Death Clock is kind of having a revival. How was Death Clock live? How does that?
What's
do?
that like?
Oh my God, it is the most mind-blowing experience you can imagine. Absolutely, man. It is such a sensory overload,
Oh yeah.
like because we as the Death Clock pit orchestra, we keep ourselves kind of we try to make the band as anonymous as possible. And we got this big old giant screen behind us, and everybody can see the latest show on YouTube, and shows throughout history on YouTube, some of the concerts. And we have this big old giant screen behind us, and it's everything is set to a click track. All the music and edits and animation is formatted to cuts on the click track. So it's there's a lot of there's a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, definitely, because pretty much they hit the start button on the program on the laptop, and the show just runs. It doesn't stop. We don't like take little break. We take breaks in the song in between the songs. However, on the video, there's like a comedic little 2-minute break here, and it's full onslaughting visual psychosis mixed with a lot of comedy as well.
Yeah.
So that is really fun, and it's an amazing show. I've had like we've done 3 to 4 one-offs over the years since our last like proper tour, and but during always when I'm on the road and I'm talking with some of the local guys, local fans, hanging out after the show, a lot of guys have told me, they're like, I've lived in this town here. I've been to every show, and these guys are older than me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've been to every show, from all the little club shows to all the big old stadium concerts and stuff. This was the best concert I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, badass. And I heard that many, many times. So I'm like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I believe it.
I-
I mean, yeah, when you said orchestral, watching those videos, that was the first thing I thought of. Is I was like, wow, it's like a death metal orchestra, is what it is.
Absolutely, and
Unbelievable.
I kind of feel bad for, like, when you're meeting a mom and dad and their young one is with them, their 9-year-old, 12-year-old, and they're saying, this is our son's first concert. I'm like, oh my God, it's just downhill from here now, kid. Go see whoever you want to see. It's not going to be Death Clock. So I'm sorry to start you up here, because it's only downhill from here on out.
That's
So,
important. Yeah. Yeah. My first concert was Maiden Power Slave, and
There
that
you
was
go,
pretty fucking
1984.
hard to follow. But I
Right?
do think that you're right. I think the Death Clock eclipses that, but it's not a good starting point. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, man,
Trans-Siberian
it's-
Orchestra for
Your
for-
first concert. Yeah. Like you think they're all going to be like that,
Exactly. Like, hey, Dad, how come we're at the, what can AC/DC do that Death Clock hasn't got? Like, come on, what's going to happen? Oh, big exploding
Yeah,
cannons. Ooh, where's my big video screen? With,
Yeah, I think my second concert was like Kansas or something. I was like, "Where's the
Right.
giant monster that they pull the brains out of?" What the
yeah,
hell?
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to ask about Strapping Young Lad.
Yeah. I mean, so another iconic album you're on, Cities, or City. There's a lot of programming on that album. Like, talk about what that was like, where you were drumming and programming, and what was it like making that record?
Programming. I'm trying to think of the programming that actually went on the record. I don't know if there was actually any. That's all live drums. That's me
Really?
playing on that thing. Yeah, man. That's
'Cause,
Hogan
I mean, I
playing.
think the liner notes say something about programming of some kind, but
There could have been some stuff that kind of laid down in the background, kind of thing, but
okay.
that is me. I think there might have been a little bit of like boom, 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 boom on some
Yeah.
toms Devin might have laid down, afterwards. But
Yeah.
those drums are 100% Hogan, man. Let me tell you.
Awesome.
Did you
It was
ever
great.
injure yourself on stage while playing because everything's going so fast?
Well, I tell you, man, there's been many a times when I have been injured on stage, but not because of what's happening on stage. Like there's been times when I've thrown out my back and I can barely walk, but it happens. But I'm sitting there jamming along, so
Yeah.
you bleed a lot on stage. Sometimes you
Bleed?
bust up yeah, man. You'll get a like a big old. I have calluses.
Yeah,
I don't know if you see that. You see a big old that thing hanging on the side of my Oh yeah, you can even see some old blood blister action
Oh yeah.
on
Wow.
that action there. Yeah, man, that happens. But it's all for metal. Bleed for metal. We're all for it.
What do you think of that movie Whiplash that came out a few years ago about the jazz drummers? You see that?
Well, I saw it one time. I think I saw it on a plane. So, it wasn't anything that made me recall it afterwards. Like, I
Okay.
never thought I'd get, like, what did you think when you saw Whiplash? I never thought I'd hear that question. So I wasn't, like, sinking it in or anything. So, there you go.
Okay, there you go.
What's going on with they said I was online and it was saying you did this like long exposure photography with like colorful drumsticks. Are those prints available for
Oh,
purchase?
absolutely.
Or
Yeah, man. It's at
Yeah?
GeneHoglanArt.com.
All
Yeah,
right.
they're all available. They look amazing. It is long exposure. Long exposure with glowing, colorful sticks. And they just have you jam, that's part of it's from a company called Scene 4. And they have you jam and just do your thing. And they just motion capture the whole thing, and it comes out really, really neat. And Scene 4 is a company that is run by a gentleman by the name of Corey Danziger, and found out deep into the project that Corey Danziger played Tom Hanks's son in that movie, The Burbs.
Oh
which is
yeah.
one of my wife Laura's favorite movies, one of her family's favorite movies. So when I told her that, she's like, "Holy
the
moly,
bird?
The Burbs."
Oh, the Burbs.
Yeah.
I thought you
Not
said
not the Hitchcock film, The Burbs.
Yeah, not the
totally
Hitchcock.
different movie.
The Burbs. So anyway, that was pretty, fun little bit of trivia to find that out.
Great.
All right, so we have a segment on our show called Getting to Know You Random Questions with Stace, which is me. So I want you to pick 5 numbers between 1 and 57. So it's kind of like lotto. So go.
7, 13, 27, 36, 43, and 57.
That's 5 already.
Cool. Do it.
All right. So question number 7. What is your go-to dance move?
The one I do, it's about that. That's about the best you can get out of me, man. My wife Laura's an incredible dancer. When she like grabs me in the living room, like, "Hey man, let's dance." That's pretty much my little
That's your
action
dance
there.
move.
That's about all I can pull off there, man.
Kind of like the robot. All right. Question number 13, which you picked. What is the worst job you ever had?
Playing for a band in the 2000s that I had no heart and no soul into playing. I've outside of drumming for a living, I've had one job ever, and that was back in the 80s. But I would say playing for a certain band, that was a job, and that was a job that I did not appreciate nor felt any appreciation from that job.
Oh
so
yeah.
so there you go. So, yeah, man, I was happy when that quick little it just kind of zoomed by real fast.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 27. Do you consider yourself a do the dishes person or let them soak person?
I am not going to kid you one iota. My nickname to my wife Laura is Dishes. She calls me Dishes.
Because you're
And
obsessed with doing them?
I am in no way obsessed with doing them, but I do a lot of dishes.
Okay.
Like, my wife's a touring musician too, but when I'm on the road, and when I come back, she's like, "Finally, the dishes can get done. Come on, man." that kind of thing. So, yeah, man.
Question number 36. If you could eradicate a TV show or movie from existing, what would you pick?
I would suggest every single bit of reality television that is scripted and with all the vapid people that you have absolutely no feeling for.
Right.
And you can't understand how these folks have become reality stars kind of thing. Tell you what, it's getting kind of dark here. I could tell it's getting dark. Let me flip on the light. I'm just out my back.
Sure.
Hang on one second.
Okay. We're starving, and then there's some guy chomping on a Snickers bar behind a camera going, "You look great. You look great." Okay, that's better. Yeah.
The sun looked nice there for a little bit. You know, just hanging out there. Got a little nice.
Yeah, the
little
palm
mountain.
trees look great. Yeah.
Yeah, look at, I mean, that's what I see outside of my place there.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
That's
We're
really
in
nice.
Baltimore, not so many palm trees.
Definitely not. No.
That is where my wife Laura was born, Baltimore.
Really?
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Baltimore runs through it, we found.
Yes.
You go.
All right, so your last question is number 43. How are you similar to your parents?
Well, first of all, boy, I tell you what, nobody was like my dad, Jerry Hoagland. That man was a singular character unto himself, man. And the one thing I've tried, like all of my friends, they might like me. They love my dad. You know, it's like it would be like, you know, when it would, the word would be like, you know, hey man, Jerry's come down to the gig tonight. People be like, Hoagland, get out of the way, man. Where's your dad? You know, that kind of thing. And my dad was a tiny pink man. He was a tiny little man. I'm 6'4". My dad was 5'7",
Oh,
and
wow.
just pink. You know, I'm a pretty brown dude, you know, but my dad was just tiny little pink man. But he was the coolest dude ever. Always had stories. All my friends were just like, man, we love your dad. We tolerate you, so you bring your dad around, kind of thing. So that was pretty cool, man. I love my dad, and you know, he and my wife Laura were best pals, man. And my dad was constantly like, say, when are you gonna drop that loser and get
Oh,
with
my
a real
God.
dude here? Come on, man, drop that kid, man. So that's pretty cool.
Great. I think that's about all we have. Do you have some things that you're working on now that you'd like to talk about?
Well, let me see. I'm currently myself and Jim Durkin. We're writing the new Dark Angel record, so we're trying to get that
Yes!
rolling, and that's coming out pretty darn badass so far, man. Let me tell you. And we have a new web store available at Reversed Records for all my stuff, for all things, you know, Gene related, and Dark Angel and Death to All. And all that.
pack.
Yeah, man, right. Super cool there. And you know, one thing that I've been, you know, involved in over the past, you know, over a decade now, Jesus, is, you know, trying to get healthy, you know, trying to be healthy, and being involved with superfood companies and things like that. And there's a fantastic superfood company called High on Life Superfoods that is pretty darn cool. People might want to check that out if you're into trying to attain a little, you know, healthier lifestyle. And I freely admit, man, I am in training. I'm 54 right now. I'm 54 years old, and I intend to be crushing it in deep into my 70s, like not in some kind of like, oh, that's adorable, he still plays some drum kind of thing. No, I mean, I'm talking like just wielding the Savage double bass, the blast beats, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, and I consider myself to be in training for that. You know, I'm not effing around. Like I've lost 180 pounds, about 180 pounds. That's right. And, you know, I got up to like 410 pounds, man. I was a very, very large human. I'm a large, imposing human, even at this size, you know, but there you go. So I figure I could get away with my, I still got a ways to go, but I could get away with my carriage the way it is, my size or whatever.
Yeah.
But by the time I'm in my 70s, I figure I'll be cut, ripped, just crushing everything,
That's
So
great.
utilizing superfoods, eating healthy, not a bad way to go. And all of my friends are kind of doing the same thing as well. Everybody knows it. Hey, man, partying, that was great back in the 20s and all that kind of stuff. But now we're serious about living. So we all want to be doing this for year upon year upon year. So what better way to take it on than start getting healthy now, man? So there you go.
Gene, thanks so much. This was great.
Right on, Mark. Right on, Stace. It was great chatting with you guys, man. And
Can't
best of
wait
luck
to
with it.
see you guys live and in person.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
All right, man. Thanks very much. See
Take
ya.
care, you guys.
All
We'll
right.
see
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Sounds of Decay time. First band is Sadistic Ritual from Atlanta, Hotlanta. If you want riffs, you got them.
Blackened thrash kind of
Yeah.
reminds you of blackened salmon because you get that spice in
Spicy. Looks like they've been around for about 10 years, 12 years. But this is only their second album. So these guys look like they take their time when they're
Yeah,
putting records together.
This is a 5-piece from Atlanta.
Right. I think Morbid Saint, Creator, Sadist, that kind of thing.
Really solid, kind of bordering thrash and death.
Thrash and death. If you squint, it's death. Yeah. God, the guitar solo on this one we're gonna play is just fucking. It's like Alex Skolnick meets Kirk Hammett or something.
So we're gonna play a song called "End of All Worlds."
Yeah. Let it rip, baby.
Let it rip.
Okay, Sounds of Decay number 2. These guys actually are Tasmanian Devils. I had no idea. This band's from Tasmania. They're called Psychropic.
Psychropic.
Yeah, I mean, they've been around for a long time. They've got a bunch of records. They had some on Prosthetic. They had some on Nuclear Blast. I feel like a total schmuck because I've never heard of them until now.
Yeah, but this shit rips.
Tight as fuck. I mean, the new album is on, I think it's an indie. It's called EVP Records out of Melbourne, Australia. And I love the title. It's called A Fool's Errand. It's like something Alan Averill would say.
I'm not a man known for his dancing.
This is take number 6,412 of the Snaggletooth Decay, Season 2, Episode 1.
Actually, it's our first take of this.
Is it? Okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, this is new ground.
Oh my God, we're in new territory. I can't believe it. Yeah.
Oh,
So-
this has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Snaggletooth theme, courtesy of Gustav Jord from Defleshed. All Sounds of Decay theme, courtesy of Steve Rathbone from Lair of the Minotaur. All content trademark 2022. The Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Dropping shit.
Dropping shit.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.